Good morning, everyone. Today we're going to talk about composite solids for our math lesson. And when we find composite solids, we think, oh my gosh, it's going to be kind of crazy. Let me show you what composite solids look like. And right here on the screen, you can see that I have a red prism and a yellow prism. So really, this is just one big three-dimensional shape. And if I turn my camera just a little bit more, you'll be able to see, okay, it's got length, width, and two very separate heights. So that's what a composite figure is. It's made up of two separate prisms. Now, how do we go about finding the volume of this whole thing? Well, what we can do is we can find the separate volumes and add them together to find the volume of the whole figure. So I'm going to keep this image now up on screen. And I can see that I have a red figure here and a yellow figure. Well, I'm going to take those figures apart and separate them into two separate figures. Now, with my yellow figure, I can see that my dimensions are 2 by 2 by 4, and that my red cube was 2 cubes shorter than the yellow cube, and it is only 2 cubes high, it's 2 cubes long, and it's 2 cubes wide. So again, this is what it looked like all together, okay, as I spin it around. And this is what it looks like as two separate figures. What I'd like for you to do right now is pause this video, and I'm going to adjust the document camera so that you can see my work. And what I want you to do is find the volume of the yellow prism and the volume of the red prism. And we're going to come back in a couple seconds and find that volume together. All right, and on this Post-it, I did my work really quickly, and I was able to find the volume of my yellow prism. I'm going to knock it down really quick. All right, so I can see that my volume was 4 by 2 by 2 deep, and there are 16 yellow cubes that make up this particular shape. For my red, I did 2 times 2 times 2. All right, 2 times 2 times 2, and I got a volume of 8 red cubes. Well, the real question was not how many yellow cubes and how many red cubes there were. The real question was how many cubes were there in the composite figure. This is the composite figure. So what I need to do is add the volume of the yellow prism together and the volume of the red prism together. So 16 plus 8 gives me 24 cubes were used to make those together. Now, boys and girls, I need you to find your math packet that we were working on yesterday. We're going to continue in there on page 219, and we're going to continue on the page that looks like this. It says Practice 8, Volume of Composite Solids. So go ahead and pause this video while you get yourself set up. All right, so now that we're ready to go, we're going to take a look at this example up top. And we see that they cut it up into two prisms, A and B. A is 5 long, B is 6 long. They're both 4 wide. B is 2 centimeters high, and A is 6 centimeters high. So they broke it up into prism A and B. So the volume of prism A was 6 times 5 times 4. Okay, this 4 doesn't go away. It's the same distance here. It's the same distance here. So 6 times 5 times 4. And that's 20 times 6 is 120 cubic centimeters. Over here for prism B, I see 6 times 4 times 2. So that's 6 times 4 is 24 times 2 is 48. Now I take those two answers, 120 plus 48, and I add them together to get my total volume of 168. And since they gave me cubic centimeters, my answer is cubic centimeters. We can just go with 168. Let's work on problem number 1 together right now on the Post-it here. All right, so prism A is this prism right here, and I have to look at the entire system. We can see that the height is 10. Okay, so I'm going to write down my length, my width, and my height, just so that I have those dimensions. So my length, prism A is 9. The width is 5. It's the same as prism B. So I just look and I see if there's any difference, and there's not. So width is 5, and my height is 10. So the volume is 9 times 5 times 10. So I know that 9 times 5 is 45 times 10, 450. Okay? For prism B, length, width, height, I'm going to do that it's 5 centimeter or 5 feet long. The width didn't change, it's 5 feet wide. And the height, well, the height is different. And it doesn't tell me that this is a certain height here. What it does tell me is it tells me how big the drop-off is right here. So that drop-off is 1 foot less than the height of prism A. Well, if prism A was 10 feet, think about what the height of B is. It's 10 and 1 less than 10, so the height is 1 less than 10 is 9 feet. So I have to multiply 5 times 5 times 9. 5 times 5 times 9, so that's 25 times 9, that's 225. Well, the volume of the solid, so solid 1 was 450, and solid 2 was 225. You are going to be responsible for adding those together and finding the final volume and putting that in the worksheet answer that you're going to turn in later on in Google Forms. Turn the page right now and go on to the second problem. And here's my second problem. And this particular diagram is quite interesting. So again, I'm going to have to think about my length, my width, and my height. Okay, so length, width, height, length, width, height. I like to add in those 3 dimensions just so I can easily see what they all are. Now, the length of prism A, here's prism A up here. It's going to be somewhat long right there. It's 15 meters long. Okay, its width, well, they don't give us a width here, here, or here, so I'm going to see the width doesn't change from prism B. Prism B has a width of 10, so prism A does too. The height. This is where the height gets really weird, and this is why I wanted to do this one along with you. Okay, so the height, it says that A and B are both 15 meters tall. B is 5 meters tall. So if B is 5 meters and altogether A plus B equal 15, so 5 plus some number over here has to equal 15. What is that number going to be? Well, 5 plus 10 equals 15 in all, right? So my height is 10. And now I have to multiply all of that together. So 15 times 10 is 150, times 10 is 1,500. Now the length, width, and height of B, this one was a little bit easier. So the length is 30, the width is 10, and my height is 5. So when I do 30 times 10, that gives me 300 times 5. 300 times 5 is 15, 2 zeros on the end, 1,500. The volume of the whole solid, 1,500 plus 1,500. You're going to have to solve that and find the volume for the entire composite solid. When you do that, you're going to have to answer the workbook Google form as well. Today, for independent practice, you're going to finish off on page 220. You're going to finish numbers 3 and 4. Turning the page to page 221, it looks mostly blank, but there's only one problem here, okay? Notice that the block is cut into 2 pieces on this line right here. So what is the volume of the whole block? I don't care about prism A, I don't care about prism B. I need to know the volume of the whole block. And then on number 6, again, another word problem, but with a pretty good diagram. Look at your dimensions very carefully and think about which dimensions might go in which places to help you. and find the total volume of this solid. As we did yesterday, you're going to post your answers onto the Google form. So it's workbook pages 219 through 222, and you're going to enter in your answers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and fill those in. Okay? When you do that, make sure you hit the submit button and it will again instantly grade for you. And if there are any questions, feel free to email me. Have fun, and we'll see you later.